buying a $2 million house was probably one of the worst financial mistakes I ever made. This is real talk. It's real talk. One, this was my first house ever. So why am I spending $2 million on a 6-bedroom house that's 10,000 square feet? Why? At the time, it's just me and my baby would come and visit me. So one, that's a mistake, but it was the mindset. Oh, I want this. So then, once you do that, you get this fancy taste in your mouth where you won't redo all the stuff. So now I don't have the first idea about real estate, but now I want to renovate the whole house. I have the slightest idea of what renovation supposed to look like. But I got an idea on what I want, the big chandelier. I want all this potent. America's living on credit and time is running out. So here's debt problems hitting a breaking point. Household debt from mortgages to credit cards and auto loans is growing faster than income, leaving millions struggling to keep up. Rising costs for housing, food, and insurance have forced families to rely on credit just to survive, not to invest or save. Now, credit delinquencies and subprime auto loans, listen to that word again, subprime auto loans defaults are climbing. Early stage that the system is starting to crack. If this continues, it could slow the entire economy and expose how fragile the American dream has become. Americans living on credit and time is running out. Listen to it. The U.S. now has a record $18.6 trillion in household debt, $13.1 trillion in mortgages, $1.7 trillion in auto loans. Damn. $1.7 trillion in student loans, $1.2 trillion in credit card debt. The household debt is now up 60% over the last 10 to 50 years, and total credit card debt is up 50% since 2020. Meanwhile, delinquency rates on subprime auto borrowers are at a record of 6.1%. Mortgage debt, $13.7 trillion, auto debt, $1.66 trillion, student loan debt, $1.65 trillion, credit card debt, $1.23 trillion, other debt, $0.55 trillion, home equity line of credit, $0.42 trillion, which is $420 billion. And I'm gonna say this, you know, they say it all the time, man, the fruit don't fall far from the tree. The people in America are no better than America itself. And I say that. Why? America, $38 trillion in debt. It shows in the people. The people in China, I remember talking to somebody about the people in China, and they said the reason they don't worry about the Chinese economy is because they live below their means anyway, because they know what it was like to build up from nothing. And so they don't just live above their means like that. So they ain't really tripping. And I think that's one of the things. I was talking to my lawyer yesterday, and we talked about a couple of things, and I said that he said, man, I've been just deep diving in some of your content, bro. He's like, bro, like, he's a white guy, man. He's real cool. He said, man, I've been deep diving in some of your content, bro, and it's really, really good, bro. He was like, your perspective on things is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said, I notice you're not really a flashy person. And I talked to him and I said something to him. He laughed at me. And I said, my first year or two of being a millionaire, I had to get the broke mentality out of my system. So he said, huh? And I said, yeah, you know, I had to buy the, you know, you buy the, I said, I always wanted to, in 2014, I had a picture of a Bentley. It was when Bentley trucks first came out. You know what I'm saying? I remember 2 Chainz had song, we don't get that Bentley truck. And I said, when I saw the Bentley truck, man, I was like, bruh, I want that. I said, so, you know, when I got up, I got me a Bentley truck. And I got me a Rolex because, you know, as a street dude, you know, I was, you know, you want the Rolex is what you want. But, so you get the Rolex and you get the Bentley and you buy all the designer stuff, and then you get to a point, you buy the house and you realize, bro, this shit's stupid. It's stupid. And you ask yourself a question and you say, is it worth it? you know? It's crazy because I remember, and there's no lie, Zara is popping right now. But I remember I was dating this female in 2012, bro. I got pictures. She lived in the A. I had never heard of Zara before a day in my life, dog. Ever. But this was around a time where you can wear, in New Orleans, we was wearing like fly to, it was just fly. So I was on the blazer, hey babe. I was on the blazer, tie. That was my thing. The vest, going to the club. So I remember I was looking for a vest and shoe, and I came to the 80s, it was 2011, and she said, man, let's go to this store called Zara. Like, Zara? What the hell is that? I had never heard this before a day in my life, dog. Bro, I went into that store, bro. I was like, oh, this fly. I mean, how much did it go? And it wasn't high. I remember getting like 6 blazers out of Zara, dog. And I remember bringing them back home to my lawyer at the time had put me on Taylor, getting just stuff Taylor. And he was like, because he wanted me to come to court a certain way. And he was like, ain't nothing like a man getting a tailored suit. So I didn't get a tailored suit, but I got the tailored blazer, so it would make the blazers fit me. And bro, from 2011, I'm going to Zara. I only met it out here. It wasn't even in New Orleans. They didn't even have it in New Orleans. I had to come out here, and I had to order online. And so I was like, all right, man, this shit cool, bro. So said all that to say, bro, like when I got to a certain level, I was like, bro, like this shit don't even make sense. And I was on Instagram Live talking one day, and somebody was like, man, Trap tripping, he trying to flex on people. Like, I'm not. Buying a $2 million house was probably one of the worst financial mistakes I ever made. This is real talk. It's real talk. One, this was my first house ever. So why am I spending $2-point-something million on a 6-bedroom house that's 10,000 square feet? Why? At the time, it's just me and my baby would come and visit me. So one, that's a mistake. But it was the mindset. Oh, I want this. So then, once you do that, you get this fancy taste in your mouth where you won't redo all the stuff. So now I don't have the first idea about real estate, but now I want to renovate the whole house. I have the slightest idea of what renovation supposed to look like. But I got an idea on what I want, the big chandelier. I want all this potent. Just keeping it real. Right? Because when you broke, this is what you imagine this look like. And so you get a couple M's, you're like, oh, man, I know how to make money in the market. I know how to. I done went through 3 people to renovate the house before I got it right. So I done put $2-3 million in the house from mistakes. This is real talk. And I remember getting a property tax bill. I say, wait. Why are these taxes $25,000? What is this? And I remember calling the person who helped me get the house, and I said, yo, why you ain't tell me the property tax was $25,000? They said, you the one wanted the $2 million house. Welcome to the club. Bro, I said, what? I gotta pay it every year? I said, man, I should have stayed in my condo. But then, the next year came, it was $32,000.
Oh.
I said, how that happen? So I called the people. I said, hey, my name, I paid this last year. What happened? How'd I go from 20 to 30? What was, they're like, oh yeah, we fixed the road. A road, because they're gonna tell you. They say, oh yeah, the road got fixed here.
And you gotta pay for that.
What?
That's your road now.
What?
You went on that.
I said, the road got fixed. Yeah, we decided to read. You decided. I didn't even ask for that. I didn't ask you to fix that. As a matter of fact, it was perfectly fine to me. If I'm being real with you.
Yeah,
It was
all right.
perfectly fine.
Put that back like it was.
But, bruh. So they'll tell you everything that happened. And then they say, oh yeah, and your house increased in value by this much. I kid you not. I told the lady, put it back. And I was like, what? So I asked my neighbor. I was like, say neighbor,
Say neighbors.
nah, bro, it's real talk. You think I'm lying, cuz? You think I'm lying? I said, say neighbor, look, I don't want to get in your business, but I just gotta ask you a question. I know it's personal. You can tell me no, I ain't tripping. I said, man, I paid 20-something thousand in taxes last year. This year's at 30-something thousand. My neighbor said, yep. Imagine when I first started, I paid 15. He said, we've been here 5 years. He said, I'm at 30-something too.
Moving on up to the east side.
Blew my mind, bro. Had no idea that's how this thing went, bro. Had no idea that's how that thing went. So I'm not saying don't get a house. Here's what I'm just telling people. That keep up with the Joneses, that, because I always prided myself in saying, but I don't wear all that jewelry and all that. That ain't my thing. So that was cool. But you do other stuff. So I said, oh, bet. Now, bro, if it ain't spending money on my baby girl, or taking me and my girl out the country, or buying information. That's the one thing my lady can say. All y'all, bro, that nigga gonna buy her mentorship from somebody that costs about $80,000. You know why? Because the fastest way to get somewhere that you ain't never been is to go find, this is my method. The fastest way to get somewhere or do something that you ain't never did is to go find somebody who did it really, really well and exceeded at it and pay them to teach you what they know. Now, people gonna say, oh, you just saying that because you got money. Well, you know, when you everybody don't got the money to do that, so you gotta come up with other creative ways. But for me, I've never made 100 million before, and I've never created 100 million millionaires before. Well, how do you do that? You go find somebody that is made 100 million, 200 million, and that's still ethically in place, and you go pay that person to teach you how to get there faster. So I truly believe in that. What I don't believe in is, and I wanted to, I'm gonna get past this because I had something right here, you dig? I saw Ice Cube's son on an interview with Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch asked him, do you have to deal with nepotism from your friends? But he said something else, like nepa something, but he didn't say nepotism, it was something else. Like, and Ice Cube's son, O'Shea, said, I don't try to defend that. You want me to defend the fact that I had a good life? Man, you niggas crazy. And bro, I thought that was so profound because there are actual people who don't, so let me say this everywhere. I've never heard so many people say they was homeless before in my life. I've never heard. Now, I'm not denying it because we live in America. But I've never heard so many people say, I was homeless. I'm not denying it. What I'm saying is, I want to rob my daughter of that shit. I want to rob my future kids of the ability to get that out the mud story. You a damn lie. Your ass ain't get shit out the mud. But there are lessons that you can teach them on critical thinking, leadership by putting them in sports, putting them in situations, compassion by doing give backs and letting them see you. There's other ways you can build resiliency and relatability for your kids from certain shit besides saying, yep, you ain't get it out. No, I don't want you to get out the mud. I don't want you to say, man, my daddy wasn't there for me. You a damn lie. Man, nobody wasn't there to support me. You a damn lie. I want to rob my kids out of that. So if your ass don't succeed in life, it ain't nothing that, it's the decision you made. It ain't got shit to do with your parents. It's the shit that you decided not to do. So when I heard him say that, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I was so, and he said that shit with his chest. He was like, man, I ain't defending that. Man, what? Man, my daddy, I had a good life. Bro, I was so proud of that because there's people who would downplay that shit. So all I was saying to everybody is, bro, like, once you get your first million, don't go get more house than you can afford. Don't go buy all them chains. You don't need that shit. Treat yourself to a pair of shoes. I ain't mad at that, but you don't need every pair of red bottoms. I made that mistake. I got 32 pair of them sitting in my closet.
Bro, you got a pair in the back.
I got 32 pair. I got a pair in the back, huh?
Yeah, just in the back.
I got 32 pair in my closet. It's not a flex. My lady said, you wear the same 6 shoes every day.
Mm-hmm.